What's up, guys? So I wanted to take a look at the theoretical short squeeze that happened with GameStop over Friday, and that's been happening the last couple of weeks. Cameron asked me, to talk a little bit about what exactly happened and what does that mean. So I wanted to break this down real simple as far as what first, how does a short squeeze work? And we need to understand what shorting a stock is. And so here on Market Watch, real simple explanation brought up for you guys. And so shorting or short selling is when an investor borrows shares and immediately sells them, hoping he or she can scoop them up at a later price and return them to the lender and pocket the difference, right? Now the catch is, um, eventually you have to cover your short. So if the stock goes up, there is infinite loss for you, and eventually you have to cover and pay back. And when you cover your short position, you have to buy the shares back that you borrowed from said lender at whatever price the stock is at currently. So if the shares are way up, higher than what you borrowed them at, then you have to pay the difference on that. And in theory, you get enough of that happening, and then they cover and people hold, and you have a certain amount of time before you have to cover, right? So say I borrow shares from Cody at a certain price and the stock goes up, but I have a year my until I have to cover my short position. Now, at what point do I decide that I want to just take a loss, or do I keep thinking, oh, it'll happen, and you kind of wait and wait, and people can roll shorts over, like, oh, I'll just, pay a higher price and some interest on this, and it'll be even further out. I've seen people do that or lots of people do that as well, and thinking eventually it will, it'll work out for me, so I'll take an even bigger load. With GameStop, the theory is that there was such a big short position by some big hedge funds such as Melvin Capital Group and then Citron Research and then some other big institutional bankers that, with COVID, GameStop's price took an uptick that wasn't expected because people started playing video games again, and so it wasn't really destroyed the way that everyone thought it would be. And so they were shorting it thinking this company is going to zero, it's going to be like Blockbuster. And surprisingly, we started to see an uptrend in September, October, and then November we came all the way up to almost $14 a share. And so people looked into it, and reports came out saying, oh, the short interest is more than 100%. How's that possible? It's because people, they buy the shares and they short them and then they sell them again to be shorted and all this. And that's a little bit more complicated, but eventually, in a nutshell, the time came that people had to cover their shorts, right? They didn't have enough time, and they didn't want to roll them over because they're starting to take such a big loss. They're thinking, oh, maybe this really does have potential to grow. And another kicker thing that made this people doubt that GameStop would go down and actually start to think it would go up is that Ryan Cohen, who is a very wealthy man who took certain companies, retail companies for pet stores, for example, and created Chewy, made them successful. And that's in a whole other rabbit hole, but he decided that he wanted to also get in on this GameStop action and bought a bunch of shares in the company, is on the board of investors, on the company board, and is looking to rebrand almost GameStop and make them, become a part of the online industry for game sales and things like that, which, esports industry, gaming industry did more than action sports and like your NFL, NBA, all that combined last year because of COVID. It's a growing industry. So he comes in, people are like, oh, Ryan Cohen's the savior of GameStop, and then that combined with Wall Street Bets, the internet, and Twitter and Reddit, everyone making this huge thing about it, eventually started to swing it. And so the question is this actually a short squeeze, or is this really just a pump from so many people finally getting on board with this, and Wall Street Bets and the internet having the power to turn the tides of a lot of stocks and pump these meme stocks up so much? That's the question. And so I've been doing a lot of reading on it, and I read a really interesting article today that was showing data that maybe it wasn't a short squeeze and that these people actually didn't have short positions on these stocks, but just had puts on GameStop where their loss is capped, right? Your position expires worthless. That's it. If you have short positions, though, like I said in the beginning, your loss is infinite. As far up as the stock goes, whenever you decide to cover, that's how much you're gonna have to pay. So when they start covering, right, they start buying, it raises the price, and then that could be part of it, but also part of it is just all this hype around the stock also created, the options theory that call or buying options begets other people buying more options, and it continues to go like that, and just it becomes a snowball effect, and that's a real thing. There's a really good article. I'll send it in the chat about that. It's a long one. It took me a while to read through it all, but really worth it if you want to understand a little better. So that's kind of what happened in here. In theory, take it or leave it. Is it a short squeeze? A short squeeze is, if it is one, can take months to happen. Now, the last giant short squeeze like this that I know of was Volkswagen a while back, and it took over the course of a few months. People are saying GameStop's going to 1,000. The short squeeze is just beginning. They're going to have to cover. It's tough to tell. Who knows? It's very possible. If really they do have such big portions of everything, such big blocks of shares that they have short positions on, then by all means, this thing could go to 100, 300 if it really is 15% of a huge hedge funds portfolio, like they're saying, or not 15%, but it's something that big. And one of the pieces of data that leans towards it actually being that is that not Citron Research, but Melvin Capital has had a 15% decrease year to date since this GameStop rally started last year, and so not year to date, but yeah, last year when it started. So it's pretty interesting. Could see that. I personally grabbed some puts on Friday because I was like, there's no way. I grabbed them all the way up here, I think in like the 70, 75 range, down to 65. After hours, we're trading at 61.23, which you can see here. I think we're probably going to see a little bit of pullback eventually, but who knows? It can keep going. So Monday morning, I'm going to see how things open up pre-market. Futures are green. It's tough to see futures for GameStop though, right? I only look at the major indices. We'll see how it does. Keep it on watch this week. Super volatile, super volatile for day trades, and for flipping options overnight or even within the same day. It's just wild. So I'm gonna have that on top watch. As far as this week goes, that's the short squeeze explained. Hopefully that helps. BlackBerry, what? They don't make phones. They actually make software and stuff. Look at this chart, right? BlackBerry is seeing the best that they have in a long time. This is the monthly chart, right? So now we're going all the way back to 2011, 2010, at the very end. And here's before Steve Jobs created the iPhone and everything, or right when they were doing it, and they were just launching $148 a share. Things have changed. Where is the daily chart? There it is. It's GameStop now. People are starting to catch on and realize this is not a little brick phone company. It's a software company. Things are going well for them. Volume is ripping every day. It's more and more shares traded. 118 million on Friday shares traded. That's bigger than 153 on this day. Let's see, 111, 129. Yeah, wow. Well, so probably a little bit slower because it's Friday, but like huge, really tight levels in here. 129 million shares traded, and we only see a 13. What is that to 12? $1. $1 gap is all. Wow. So yeah, this thing has got a lot of eyes on it. A lot of people looking to trade it. I personally am really bullish on this. We saw in here a bull flag just for 2 days form, and then boom, launch. It closes really close to the high of day. In after hours, it goes up 6% more, closed to $15 a share. Yeah, this thing's gonna rocket. So probably gonna get some calls at open, sell some positions that I have, and ride this thing out. Even like a crazy out of the money, if you guys want to be risky, a big out of the money play on this, has potential to do well. So we'll be watching that this week, big time. TRIT. Now this thing has gotten beaten up because of some different reports that have come out. It's not a highly traded stock as far as volume goes, relatively low in comparison to a lot of other things that we usually look because we want a lot of liquidity, but in the millions every day without fail. Bad reports came out. I don't know exactly what they were, but I do know that we could see a big dead cat bounce here, right? Looks like this could be the end of the drops. Big gap and back. As you can see, there's tons of volatility. Definitely going to be watching this on Monday and this week. WPF. Now here we have, you guessed it, a SPAC, right? The SPAC craze continues. This thing just started to see big volume, right? First day it breaks a million in a bit. You know, we get close. There's a couple $1 million day or million shares traded days, but this is a big one. We almost see 2 million. There's a lot of good rumors coming out that it's going to go, that their deal is going to come together. CCI V, right, which we all know, Churchill Capital. Boom, this thing proved me wrong. Roasted my puts. I had to take a loss and get out of those. But this thing has got a lot of potential. Another almost 5% after hours. I don't, you guys can't see that because of the camera, but another 5% after hours to 23.40. Definitely going to be bullish on this as well for the week. And then, you know, some of the same stuff that we're watching. I'm not even going to, I can put in there ICLN if you guys want to look. Going to be watching iClean again. This looks super bullish, right? And just continues to follow this trend line up. This is a resistance point right in here, right? So this is really key, actually worth looking at for everyone, right? We talked about supports and resistances. Oops, we don't want indicators. We want a trend line. So right in here, these levels. Line style. Line. I wonder if we can make it. Anyways, this is a support and resistance now here. So it became, oh, sorry, resistance. All right, so we see a test here, a test here, a test here. So 2 times it has tested this level of 32.90. Got rejected just barely in after hours, but these 2 strong candles are a lot stronger than this last test up in here. I bet money that we keep going on the iClean shares. Tesla, obviously, we looked at their chart a lot in the last video. Take a look at it real quick. This is a bull flag, folks. I mean, there's no way around it. There's a wedge forming big time. Tough to say if it is bullish or bearish. The only thing that makes me nervous about this is that this candle is a lower high for a green day. The close is higher than this one, but the range that we see down is lower. Tesla barely up in after hours, 0.03%, which is actually, you know, almost is a 30-cent move in a stock this big. So we're gonna be watching, of course, Tesla every week. It's just if you guys, if we can nail Tesla, game over. And let's see what else is on my list. Yeah, that's kind of it. Then just, you know, EV, watching EV, all those, the SPY, of course, iClean we talked about. Oh yeah, there's 2 more. That's right. Nope, not Solo, although I do like Solo. You guys know that. We're gonna look at SOL. I called this out a while ago. I don't know why I didn't play it. It's just new to me. It's something I'm like trying to figure out what's driving this stock up. They're just rolling every day, more and more. Big time bullish on this. Gonna keep watching it, and with it comes lost audio there for a second. And then with it comes SUNW, which is Sunworks. Same thing, same sector. I don't know why they're running solar. I'm watching that. So there you guys go. Hope you enjoy. Hope this helps a little bit, gives you a few ideas on what we're trading this week and makes sense in the GameStop squeeze, or not what we're trading, but what I'm looking at. If you guys got any other ideas, throw them in chat. If there's anything you want me to cover, let me know and I'll go over it best I can. See you guys at the bell.